Have you ever considered the term synchronicities? What does it mean? The right place at the right time? Everything happens for a reason and just when it's supposed to? Are synchronicities surprising coincidences? Actually, synchronicities are two events that happen at the same time by accident, yet they have some kind of connection. My question for you is, have you ever considered whether these things are scientifically predictable, like the law of averages, or whether it's the law of attraction in motion? This podcast is all about helping you with your spiritual growth so that you can have success on life's journey. It's all about getting unstuck by unlocking your hidden power. And I hope today's episode inspires you to look more closely at synchronicities and perhaps even answer a few questions like, can we attract synchronicities to prove to us that we're on the right path? So here we go. Hi there and welcome. My name is Rami, like Do Re Mi. I'm a best-selling author and creator of the Get Unstuck Revolution. I help extraordinary women just like you dissolve the obstacles in your path so you can bring success to you. Now let's get started with today's video. Okay, let me jump off the screen here so I can see my laptop. And today we're talking about synchronicities. Are they accidental or are they a sign that we're on the right path? Synchronicities are meaningful coincidences. And I remember one time having lunch with my friend Judy, and as I was getting dressed that morning, I thought, man, I would love to have earrings to go with this outfit because I don't really have anything to polish it up. And when I got to the restaurant, Judy handed me a little bag with the perfect earrings. Now, was this some kind of a sign or simply a coincidence that had no meaning? Well, I don't know if it had any meaning other than simply reflecting that we were in sync with a very beautiful and successful friendship. If you'd like to see success in full abundance along life's journey, and if you're wanting to tap into a greater knowingness and align with the higher consciousness of your infinite self, instead of the lower ego thinking that pushes desires away, if you'd like to be a little more in sync with the universe, then this episode is for you. It's time to be unabashedly, unapologetically, happily untethered to ego thinking. It's time to align with the higher energies of our soul's path instead. Today's episode is for you if you wonder, can synchronicities help you with your decision-making process? Do synchronicities reflect the collective unconscious, or are they signs sent from heaven? And how to use synchronicities to help you navigate through life. Yes, these episodes are about how to find your hidden power when you want to transform challenges into successes. I like to call it the audacity of alchemy, because when we're feeling stuck, it's never the situation that has us stuck. It's our energy that's become stuck in anxiety, overwhelm, doubts, worries, frustrations, indecision, and even anger. And often this is because of a spiritual injury that we've experienced, some kind of hidden trauma. So it isn't the pain of the situation, it's the pain of not being connected in the natural energy of who we really are, of being connected to that magical part of us that's a creative vibrational being who can use positive energies to create what we want and bring it into physical manifestation. We can allow these manifestations to materialize and not get stuck in the negative vibrations that block them. These positive energies that we talk about so much are where we find the magic of alchemy, because our choice of frequency, our choice of those higher energy thought patterns can change the course of our journey. And so today we're talking about synchronicities, those events that happen that seem to have some kind of connection. Are they scientifically predictable, like the law of averages, just a matter of numbers shaking out? Or is this part law of attraction that what we think about, we create? When I was researching this topic and I was looking at this idea that Carl Jung has been accredited with this concept of synchronicity, and here's what he said. He said, synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. In other words, it's always there, always around us. It isn't some paranormal event, but it's there to connect us to everything around us. And this is when we recognize that everything around us is spiritually alive. Synchronicities are there to connect us to everything around us. And this is when we recognize that everything around us is spiritually alive. So if you've ever had a weird experience, signs, recurring names or numbers, coincidences, and you think, well, either that's a sign or I'm losing my mind, you aren't alone. Why do we tend to think that synchronicities are weird experiences? Well, I remember that I had a client one time who went for a walk one day, actually the same park he'd been to a million times, in fact, every single day, unless it was raining. And on this particular day, as he was walking, he saw a giant X marked into the path. And he said that he immediately ran some scenarios through his mind on what this could mean. X marks the spot. There's something I need to X out of. Was it showing that he was at some sort of a crossroads? He asked me about this, and we probably brainstormed 20 different possibilities. And then about 2 days later, his ex-wife called him with some situation that she was sure represented the end of the world. It wasn't, but it pulled him into her drama. And he said to me, Rami, I have to wonder if the universe was giving me a warning. X, your ex is about to create drama. Well, one thing's for sure, being open to possibilities even greater than we've imagined, expecting the unexpected, inviting blessings into our lives, these can become a regular part of our daily living. And these synchronicities can help us tremendously in guiding or navigating throughout life and even with our decision making. So I'd like you to think for a minute about some decision that you've had to make, something that you pondered for a while before getting just the right sign to move forward in a particular direction. For me, I had been looking to move for a little over 4 years, about 4.5 years, and I could never quite get it together. I'd offered on well over 10 different places and just nothing wanted to work out. It was a little bit frustrating. And then one day I quote unquote accidentally found a place. And I just happened to notice that the street address was 23456. And I thought, that sounds a lot like perfect order, 23456. And so I looked at the place from top to bottom. I took some pictures, I made some notes. And as I was leaving, my shoe broke exactly in half. The heel didn't break. The strap didn't break. The entire shoe broke right in half. And I immediately heard my guide say, you can stop looking now. This is home. And so this seemingly random synchronicity helped me with my decision-making process, you see. And it's just funny to look back and see all the places that I'd offered on that I didn't get. It was almost as if the universe was saying, not that one, not that one, not that one. Okay, here you go. Synchronicity. So staying open to possibilities even greater than we've imagined is a way of inviting in these coincidences to help us along our path. Okay, then. So one of my biggest questions was whether synchronicities are a part of our collective unconscious as human beings, or is this something more ethereal, something sent from the angelic realm, from heaven above? So I was doing a little research, like I mentioned before this show, and I ran into an article. And the author, I think her name was Marianne Jones, said that she was away visiting a friend, and one morning her watch had stopped. And shortly after that, she found out that her dad had passed, and the timing seemed to correlate with the exact time that her watch had stopped. And so when she got back home a little after that, she realized that all the clocks in her house had stopped. And she said that nothing could explain it really, and she wondered whether her father was trying to send her a message. And so as I read this article, I wondered about our collective unconscious, that maybe we're more tuned in to each other than we sometimes realize. Kind of like when my friend Judy just gave me a new pair of earrings out of the blue, and they just happened to match my outfit for that day. Was that collective unconscious? This might also be part of the phenomenon known as remote viewing. If you aren't familiar, remote viewing is when someone sees or senses something else with their mind, or on their mind's eye. What we used to say was ESP. There's apparently no scientific proof that remote viewing is real. And again, it might just be part of our collective unconscious. Okay, so let's move on. We've been talking about being open to possibilities and how that invites in solutions that maybe we haven't thought about. And we've talked about how synchronicities can maybe help us with our decision-making skills. What we haven't talked about yet is whether this is related to the law of attraction and whether these synchronicities are showing us that we're on the right path. Are they helping us to navigate? We know that the law of attraction is always working. It isn't something that we use or we apply, it's always there. When we're in tune with the law of attraction, when we're in sync with it, then we know that as we set our intention on something we want to manifest, then we know that the coincidences that others would see as unrelated are actually not coincidences at all. They're synchronicities. We've simply developed an active awareness and we're looking and observing things that are happening around us. We're recognizing, we're spotting these patterns that are around us. Now, what if you aren't sure how to recognize these patterns or how to find the synchronicities? Well, it's really a matter of thinking less and feeling more. Or let me say it differently. We're listening to our intuition, we're feeling our way through it, rather than listening to our mind's chitter chatter. We're listening to a higher stream of consciousness rather than logic. We're tuning in. When we're in tune with our inner voice, we're in tune with the outer signs that are showing up. Let me say that again. When we're in tune with our inner voice, we're in tune with the outer signs that are showing up. Our intuition is usually confirmed by an external event that seems almost magical. We get confirmation. We find ourselves saying, see, I knew that would happen. Our intuition told us. We saw it in our mind's eye first. So we want to practice tuning in to that inner voice. The signs and synchronicities are all around us, just like the law of attraction. It's always there. And remember, so we're just training ourselves to pay attention, right? So one of the things that I love most about synchronicities is that it helps us to release resistance. It helps us to let go of our fears about what we will or won't have. Because as we see the signs, as we see these synchronicities, we feel better that what we want is on its way. We're seeing physical evidence. It allows us to let go of our doubts, worries, frustrations, anxieties. And in doing so, it almost seems to speed up or accelerate the law of attraction because we're no longer blocking what we want to bring to fruition with our negative energies. All right. Now, lastly, let's talk about how we can open up and invite synchronicities. Now, this is a technique that I use quite often, and you can too. If you're wondering sometimes whether to go left or whether to go right, if you're wondering whether to say yes or whether to say no, you can simply ask for a sign. Now, for me, I like to ask for a very specific sign, something that I wouldn't normally see in my day-to-day routine. For others, they'll use something common, something that they would see every day, but ask to see it 3 times in a row. For instance, they'll say, if this is the right decision for me, show me a blue flower and show it to me 3 times in a row. And fairly recently, I went to a group activity not too far from my house, and I'd been wondering if I was moving in the right direction on a particular situation. So in my car, before I went in, I wrote down on a piece of paper, if I'm in the right direction, have the host say the word purple. Not the easiest word to work into a conversation, and that's why I chose it. And especially considering the host was a guy, and guys aren't likely to talk about fashion or flower or colors like purple. But I asked to hear the word purple if I was moving in the right direction. So sure enough, I go inside. We're in this group activity. It's been going on for an hour, and we're in the middle of a conversation. And the host said, out of the blue, well, if you've ever heard of Archangel so-and-so, he's the one with the purple eyes. And I thought I would lose it. I mean, whoever talks about archangels in the middle of a conversation, especially the one with the purple eyes? So I got my confirmation. If you're wondering whether you're on the right path, whether you're moving towards something you'd like to manifest, tune into that inner voice, invite in these synchronicities, rest in the higher frequencies like resiliency, grace, and optimism, and rest in knowing that these signs will affirm your direction if you ask for it. Be looking for the positive possibilities and positive new outcomes. It's kind of magical, and this is your hidden power. So if you know anyone who is questioning their path, I hope you'll feel free to share this episode. This podcast is all about helping you progress in your spiritual growth and have success on life's journey. It's all about getting unstuck and unlocking your hidden power. Our spiritual journey is to bring in the light, to choose these higher frequencies and these higher frequency thought patterns and these higher positive emotions, because our choice of frequency changes the course of our journey, and it can change the journey for others around us too. So, reflecting back on what we've covered today, how could you apply what you've learned? What synchronicities have you experienced? And as you reflect back, was it a sign or just a coincidence with no apparent meaning? Or did these synchronicities help you somehow along your path? Well, I hope this helps you as you're using the powers of alchemy to transform challenges and obstacles into positive new successes. But if you still can't get your head around what's got you stuck, you can tell me about it. You can send me a question to questions@unlockyourhiddenpower.com. Or I also have a free guide available for you if you'll simply visit unlockyourhiddenpower.com. Of course, if you're already right there on the podcast page and not listening through iTunes or one of the others, then you'll see it right there for you at the top of the right-hand column. What is this free guide all about? Well, if you've ever thought to yourself, I need to get my life back, or if you're just having a hard time that you can't seem to recover from, then you've probably suffered invalidation, abuse, or a spiritual injury somewhere along the way that's blocking these positive outcomes that you'd like to attract in. Knowing how to take back your life so you can just move forward, well, it's one of the most common questions I get. Fortunately, finding your way back to you and back to this hidden power, well, it's easier than you might think. This new guide is the first step in getting out of the sheer frustration of being stuck and spinning your wheels on success that seems elusive. So thank you for joining me today, and I'm wishing you a life filled with all the alchemy you need to bring success to you. Feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's feeling stuck, and don't forget to grab your free guide at unlockyourhiddenpower.com.